TomoNews presents Water Parks.
Wet yourself. The scariest water slides ever. Summer's almost here, and that means pretty soon you'll have to make up your mind. Do you want it in the face or in the rump? Because those are the only two ways to go down a water slide. What did you think I meant? Trivialist presents Wet Yourself, the scariest water slides ever! Our first water slide looks terrifyingly dangerous because it is. It's the verruched water slide at the Schlitterbahn Water Park in Kansas City, Kansas. But don't get excited yet. It's been torn down following a ghastly accident in 2016. When the verruched opened in 2014, its record-breaking height commanded headlines worldwide. Riders were strapped into a raft on top of an 168-foot platform, then dumped overboard like they were raising money for ALS. Riders reached 70 miles per hour at the bottom of the first ramp before zooming over the second one. If you think that sounds scary, you don't know the half of it. In 2016, the 10-year-old son of a local politician was decapitated when his safety straps broke. The boy's head hit the safety net, and it came off. The verruched has since been demolished. Our second scary water slide hasn't seen a fatality yet. It's the Scorpion's Tail at Noah's Ark Water Park in Wisconsin. This slide's gimmick is a complete 360-degree loop that riders won't realize they're enjoying. It all starts 10 stories up on a platform with no bathroom. Then riders are loaded into a plastic capsule, and from there, the teenage ride attendant is in charge. Like a gerbil looking for Richard Gere's tonsils, the floor drops out and the rider is forced down a tube. The near vertical 10-story drop is supposed to give you enough oomph to make it through the loop. But if you fail, there is an emergency hatch you can use before the bottom of the tube fills with water, that is. Our third scariest water slide is actually two water slides. Lucky you! They've got cute names too, Twister and Speedy. Located in the Sonnenthal-de-Lusammenberg Thermal Spa in Austria. Yes, Austria's famously hot and tropical alpine environment makes it the ideal location for a water park. To enjoy the rides, you just line up with the other moist Europeans and wait for the green light. Then step into the blackness and begin a 400-foot descent into that Austrian black pudding. The number 4 scary slide on our list is the only one located in outer space. It's the Extreme Phaser at Galaxy Erding. Water is a really scarce commodity in space, you know? This just seems irresponsible. Well, anyway, as for the slide, Extreme Phaser isn't the most complex tube on our list. The rider gets into a deep, dark hole, experiences confusion, and then gets pooped into a public pool at the bottom. The most interesting part is actually the transparent bit of tube, where others get to look at your butt on the way down. Wunderbar! Our fifth water slide was once the tallest in the world. But unlike the verruched, there's no safety net to cut your head off. This is Insano at Beach Park in Brazil. Insano is 130 feet tall and was built in 1989. Basically, riders are rewarded for their strenuous uphill climb by being shoved off a 14-story building. During the free fall, the rider can hit speeds of 65 miles an hour. Now, Brazil isn't exactly known for amazing construction quality, but I have to believe that after 30 years of punishment by pumped-up Brazilian buns, Insano can take just as much as it dishes out. If number 5 wasn't insano enough for ya, try our number 6. It's Brazil's Kilimanjaro. No, not the Mount Kilimanjaro, although it is built into a mountain, so maybe they're cousins. Kilimanjaro dethroned Insano as the world's highest water slide at 164 feet. Then Kilimanjaro was dethroned by Verruched, which was 4 feet higher. But then Verruched returned the crown after getting blood on it, and Kilimanjaro is the highest water slide on Earth again. But Kilimanjaro was always the better slide, you know. Even though Verruched was 4 feet higher, you had to sit on a dumb inflatable raft with other people. And Verruched also had that dumb not safety net, while Kilimanjaro lets you go raw dog. If you want to try it out for yourself, then just samba down to Brazil, where Kilimanjaro is still scaring the pee out of people daily. Up to this point, every water slide we've covered has promised to rocket you downward as fast as possible, then crash you butt first into a pool of recycled water. Well, I imagine that water ain't too pretty after a day of flowing from butt to butt. Leave it to China to come up with a solution. This is the 8-person head-first water slide at Chimelong Water Park in Guangzhou. Now you won't have to clench your cloaca while trying to enjoy water sports. At Chimelong, you get it straight in the face. For an added element of competition, you and 7 friends can race each other side by side. The last one to get a frothy splash to the face is a rotten egg. These days, nearly all water slides are designed on computers by qualified engineers. Not so at the water parks of yore. Behold the Cannonball Loop at New Jersey's Action Park. This is another fun-looking coaster that you won't get the opportunity to try. After operating for exactly 1 summer, it was closed down forever. The Cannonball Loop achieved the same effect as the Scorpion's tail, but without all the fuss over safety. Riders who matched the Cannonball's strict height and weight requirements were rewarded with a simple 20-foot drop into total darkness. If the accumulated rocks and sand at the bottom of the loop didn't stop you, then you made it over the loop and were dumped out onto a moist rubber mat. Amazingly, of the 6 people who died at Action Park, none of them were in the Cannonball Loop. Well, that's all the scary water slides there are. But don't worry, I'm sure some unqualified engineer will make a new aquatic death tube very soon. Until then, stay on the shallow end. Bye-bye!
Orlando's new water slide is highest and scariest yet. This is Awww's Breakaway Falls, Orlando's newest and scariest water slide, located inside SeaWorld's Aquatica Water Park. Awww's Breakaway Falls is the highest water slide in the city and requires riders to climb 126 steps to the 80-foot high platform. The ride encompasses 4 different slides, 3 of which start riders off with a near vertical 40-foot drop. But the scariest part of all is the breakaway boxes, which drop the rider through a trap door. And you have no choice when that drop happens, unless you're a wuss, in which case you can choose. At top speed, riders fall at a rate of 24 feet per second, firing them through the 360-degree turns, and out the drain pipe at the bottom, with their lunch following behind moments later. The orange slide offers the most distance for your money at 420 feet. But if you want to ride the highest water slide in the world, don't go to Orlando. You want the 17-story high Verrückt slide in Kansas City's Schlitterbahn Water Park. Whoa!
A Kansas City water park company is in the midst of building what is being called the world's tallest and fastest water slide. The Verrückt Mega Blaster is expected to shatter the current record for height held by the 164-foot high Kilimanjaro in Barra de Parai, Brazil. Verrückt means insane in German, and the slide, which is scheduled to debut in May next year, is definitely not for the faint of heart. Adventurous souls must climb the agonizing 264 steps to reach the slide's staggering 17-story-tall top. 4-person rafts next send them hurtling back down to earth at a minimum speed of 65 miles per hour. The ride includes a 5-story hump that shoots riders upwards as a climatic finish to what will no doubt become known as a bowel-loosening attraction.
It's a fun and thrilling way to beat the heat. The Shoot the Rapids water ride, a main attraction of the Cedar Point amusement park in Sandusky, Ohio. The log chute ride takes passengers up a steep incline and then plunges them down into a pool of water below. But fun turned into fright for 7 park-goers on Friday. According to eyewitness reports, the log chute boat malfunctioned and began rolling backwards. The ride flipped over, plunging its occupants underwater and trapping them temporarily. All 7 occupants were injured. Were it not for the quick thinking of park guests and workers, this accident could have ended off far worse. Park officials say they are now investigating why the ride malfunctioned.
World's longest inflatable water slide comes to New Jersey. This incredibly long inflatable water slide at Action Park in New Jersey has been recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records as the world's longest. The slide measures 1,975 feet in length and is wide enough for 1 adult. Modified snowmaking machines pour 1,000 gallons of water per hour onto the slide, allowing riders to reach speeds of 35 to 40 miles per hour. Jimmy Hunt, the creator of the slide, brought it from his homeland of New Zealand to its current location at Action Park in Vernon, New Jersey. According to Hunt, the water slide uses 15 air blowers to stay inflated and takes 2 to 3 days to fully set up. Though initial test runs with park employees were successful, the water slide still requires state approval before opening to the public. Hunt created the water slide to promote his charity, Live More Awesome, which aims to raise awareness about depression and mental illness by creating fun activities that promote positive thinking. The water slide may open to the public in 2016.
French water park cancels private burkini event. A water park close to Marseille has axed a one-day private event booked by Muslim women who were going to wear burkinis. Water park officials and French authorities said in a statement that they wanted to preserve public order, following outrage and debate sparked over the event. The organizers, Smile 13, had scheduled the event for September 10th. Women attending were required to wear swimsuits that kept them covered from the chest to the knees. The group also mentioned that two pieces would not be allowed. Smile 13 said that since announcing the event, they'd received bullets sent in the mail. Right-wing politicians and some local officials then got their panties into a collective bunch, complaining the event went against legally enshrined secular values. The park announced on Tuesday that it had canceled Smile 13's reservation. Maybe Smile 13 should think about holding the event in China instead. Although there, they might need to cover up even more.
Giant slip and slide coming to downtown Los Angeles. Perfect for the young and the young at heart. Plans are in the works to transform this busy downtown Los Angeles street into a giant slip and slide for one day only later this month. Slide the City organizer said it takes around 4 hours to set up the 1,000-foot slide, which will span 3 city blocks. Travel speed down the slide depends on both weight and size. Organizers say the one-day event will require between 15 to 20,000 gallons of water to pull off. While this may sound like a lot of water, keep in mind the average LA swimming pool loses that much water from evaporation alone each year. But California is in the midst of a historic drought, and some concerned citizens expressed outrage with Slide the City's plan. LA resident Karina Soto created an online petition urging officials to deny permits for the slide. Her efforts quickly garnered thousands of supporters. Feeling the pressure, event organizers amended their plans. Water from the slide will be recycled and donated to sprinkle the greenery in Griffith Park in Hollywood Hills. The Bureau of Street Services still needs to sign off on the permit to make the mega slide a reality, but approval is expected. Event organizers said so far, more than 4,000 tickets have been sold. For TomoNews in downtown Los Angeles, I'm Sasha Horn.